Hello and welcome to this Nitrux tutorial on VirtualBox. VirtualBox is basically a program that allows you to install virtual machines on your current computer or current setup. It's free to download, it's from Oracle, so it's trustworthy. Just use your search engine and search for VirtualBox. I decided to upgrade to the newer version, and I also decided, well, if I'm doing that, why not make a tutorial on it? So here we go. Basically, just download it, double click it, or if you're on Windows Vista or 7, right click it and run as administrator. Then just next through it, you can choose the location you want to install it to. Next through that for me, do you want to choose shortcuts on your desktop, quick launch bar, just select which ones you want. Next that, and here don't worry about the warning, you can just click yes and then click install. The installation is quite quick, and then once it's doing the network configuration for your VirtualBox, so you can use the internet whilst you're on your VirtualBox, in the right hand corner here at the bottom you'll see an extra connection appearing. For me, this takes a little bit of a while to acquire the network address. Here we go. So I won't let you watch that, just so you know this is completely normal. Just let it finish what it's doing. Okie dokie, so when it's finished installing, you can choose to start up Oracle VM VirtualBox straight after the installation or not. I won't for the time being, because what we need to do is install our virtual drive. With a VirtualBox, you can either use your actual CD drive in your computer or in your tower, or you can install a virtual drive, so everything is virtual and you can install whichever operating system you choose from a ISO file or an image. So I'm going to be using DVDFab Virtual Drive just because it's free, it's lightweight, and it does everything I need it to do. Next to this installation, I tend not to create a start menu folder, and I also don't create desktop icon. I next through this, and I don't launch Virtual Drive because it's not necessary. After that, I press the Windows key and R, and I go into msconfig. After I've done that, I press the Windows key and R, and I go into msconfig. I go to Startup, and I disable the virtual drive from the Startup folder, so it doesn't start, or this setting thing, I don't know what it is, it's not needed, doesn't start when the computer starts. You really don't need it. It doesn't mean that virtual drive won't work when you start your computer, it just means your computer will start quicker. Okay, then what we want to do is mount our ISO. Okay, I'm going to be using Linux Mint just because this new one came out and I want to test it. Right click it and I mount it to drive F, so you remember the drive you mounted to. Once I've done that, I'll see it's mounted correctly because this pop-up will come. Cancel that because I don't need it. And then I start up my VirtualBox. Okay, once we've got this so far, sorry about this, this must still be left over. Once you've got this, you have a couple of settings. What we're interested in at the moment is new, and we want to create a new virtual machine. So next to this, we give it a name, which in my case is going to be Linux M for Linux Mint. And the operating system you can choose. You have Windows, you have Macintosh, you have Linux, Solaris, BSD, IBM OS2 and other. Windows, you can have anything from Windows 3.1, my favorite Windows, all the way up to Windows 8. Both 64 and 32-bit. We have Linux, so we're going to choose Linux, and Linux isn't here. Linux Mint isn't here. So we're just going to go to other Linux, and we're going to go next from there. Here you assign the virtual memory or RAM that you want your VirtualBox to have. Obviously, if you're using a Windows 7, Windows Vista, Windows 8, you probably want to go up quite high to like 800 megabytes, up to a gigabyte of RAM. Because I'm using Linux and I only have 1 GB of RAM on my actual computer, I'm going to be using 256 megabytes of RAM, which is more than enough for Linux Mint. Next that, I want to create a new hard disk. If you have an existing one, it will reformat it and so on. So next that, then here you can basically just leave it with the VirtualBox disk image or the VDI. Next that, then I prefer the fixed size, so I can specify how big I want my virtual hard drives to be, and nothing actually changes from there. If you use dynamic, it'll start small and it'll gradually get bigger. Next is, obviously here again, if you're using a Windows Vista, Windows XP, Windows 7 or Windows 8, you need probably around the 20 gigabytes. Because I'm on Linux Mint, 2 gigabytes will be enough for me. So select 2. Oh, there we go. So 2 gigabytes of RAM for me. And here with the location you can choose where the virtual disk image is going to be. So you can choose either on a separate partition that's only for virtual machines or virtual boxes, or you can, if you only have one partition, you can just choose which folder to save it in. Next this, and then we just click create, and what this is going to do is it's going to create the disk image and it's going to format it for the operating system that we are going to use. So if you're on Windows XP and upwards, it'll use the NTFS file system. Because I'm on Linux, it's probably going to use the ext304 file system. So I'll let this finish and then I'll get back to you. Okie dokie, so the creation process is complete. You can look over the summary if you want. Basically, well, I'm kind of guessing everybody remembers the settings they put in, so we can just click create. And here we have our Linux machine. Once you're in here, you want to right click on the machine that you just created, go to settings, let that load up, and then you can go to system, and I tend to remove the boot order. I don't want the floppy. If you want the hard disk to be as a primary boot, you can change it here. Okay, so this is kind of like your BIOS would be, but it's before you start the actual machine. Display, I tend to bunk up the video memory. I have a 1 gig card, so 128 megabytes of memory for my virtual machine is no worries. And then I also like to enable 3D acceleration if possible. In the system you can change, if you use your virtual machine and you think, nah, I could probably do with a little bit more RAM or a little bit less, you can change it here. The processor, if you have more than 1 core, you can assign how many cores you want to give to your virtual machine. I only have 2 cores, so I don't want to give it both of them, so 1 is fine for me. Execution cap, you can limit using the cores that you give it to maybe 80% or so on, which gives you a little bit more playroom outside of your virtual machine. Storage, here you can add an extra virtual hard drive, and you can select your CD drive, and you go on the CD here. You click on it and you can choose your actual CD drive, or in our case we're going to be using the virtual drive, so we choose the F, which is our DVD Fab virtual drive. Network, just leave this as NAT, which stands for network address translation, sorry. You can just leave that there. If you want to change it, those are the settings you have. You have bridge adapter, internal network, host only adapter, and generic driver. Under advanced you have a couple of settings you can change, but for me everything works on default, so that's what I'm going to leave it at. USB, if you connect a USB stick to your computer, you can add it here. So you just click on the little plus here, you can select your USB flash drive, and this means you can copy and paste to and from your USB drive. I also want to add with the CD drive, if you do use your actual CD drive, you can do pass-through, you can tick that, and this allows you to burn CDs from within your virtual drive. So that's basically it for the settings. You can also set up a shared folder. This is a folder that you can add files to, and you can access them from your main computer or from your virtual drive. This is quite good. I would recommend you setting this up, because maybe you're downloading stuff and you think, oh, this is good for my computer, and then you can just put it in the folder and you don't have to download it again, saving you time and effort. But for the time being, that's enough for us. Once you've done this, basically you just have to click on it, click start, or right click and start, and you can see the VirtualBox starts up. You have another boot option. If you press F12, you can choose to boot from the CD if you want. And after this point, it's basically just like your normal computer, except that it's virtualized. If you want to have it as full screen, you move your mouse inside the VirtualBox, you press on your keyboard Ctrl and F, and it turns into a full screen computer, so to say. If you want to get out of there, you press Ctrl F again, and then you move your mouse to the top or the bottom, wherever. And if it asks you about capturing the mouse and so on, you can just click Don't Show Again and just click OK for that. And that's basically it. So I hope this helps some of you out. Thanks for watching, and as always, take care.